This podcast contains detailed plot spoilers, adult language, and mature themes. Listener discretion is advised.
South Korea, under attack. No, it's not from the bizarre neighbors in the north, but from within. In today's episode, we will dive into Yeong Sang-ho's South Korean horror flick, Train to Busan. Welcome back, Jeff, and happy belated Halloween. How are things, and was it a trick or treat for you this time around?
Well, it was definitely a treat. I bought a nice big box of candy and did not have a single trick-or-treater because I live on the top floor of a 13th floor apartment building. So I've been slowly working my way through a box of Reese's Pieces, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, and Jolly Ranchers. So it's been pretty dope, man, actually.
Well, the nice thing is, for me too, is the kids get a shit ton of candy. So then every day I just take a piece here and there.
Your kids are still pretty little, so you can just take that candy and what are they going to do about it? You know, they can't take you. They might get mad at you, but they can't take you.
They're nice. They share. That's the nice thing about it. Is they're not that bad. They do nice trades with each other, and they offer some candy. So it's a good thing. The household shares. So
what are you trading? What are you trading for them?
Well, I trade them nothing. I trade them their lives.
Like, give me that lollipop. That's your dad's lot. That's mine.
But now that you're on the subject of candy, may have talked about this before. So you mentioned you have Reese's Pieces, Buttercups, Jolly Ranchers. What's your favorite Halloween candy that you like to snack on or enjoy?
Like of all time or just
of all time? Like whether it's when you were a kid or now or whatever it may be.
What's great, I don't know if you've had these or not, and this isn't a joke, these exist, is you can get Reese's Peanut Butter Cups that have Reese's Pieces inside them. Oh, it's the most magical thing. It's amazing.
Because it sounds like an ice cream flavor more than the chocolate bar.
Yeah, it kind of does, I guess, right? But no, it's a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, which is awesome. Like, I love Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. That would be one of my all-time favorites. And inside it, it's got these mini Reese's Pieces. And Reese's Pieces are also one of my favorite candies. So it's a combination of three unholy things all rolled into one. And, oh, man, somebody sold their soul to the devil to invent the Reese's Pieces stuffed Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. That tops my list, I think.
It's fucking fantastic. It's one of my favorites, too. I have not had the one that you have had, whether it's miniature or full-size form. I have never partaken, but I do love the regular peanut butter cup, untouched, unchanged. The classic is the way I like to go. However, I do enjoy Kit Kats. So the little mini Kit Kats.
That's your favorite?
That's the one I've been leaning to these days. I don't know, this Halloween and last Halloween, I've been leaning more towards the Kit Kats. I don't know why, but I guess I need myself a break. As bad as
it's an underrated chocolate bar, actually. It's a really good chocolate bar.
It is. It's very sweet, though. If I actually want just a generic chocolate bar, if I have to buy one, which is rare, but if I ever do buy one, it's always O. Henry, because I find that the peanuts, it's filling, and I feel that it's not as sweet as other chocolate bars.
Yeah, it's a good bar. I love that log of nougat in the center of it, whatever that is.
Yeah, very
delicious.
Good. It is good.
Yeah.
All right, so let's focus on the show today, which is Train to Busan. So based on last episode, obviously you've heard of the movie because that was going to be your pick. Sorry about that.
Hey, we got to watch it. It's all good.
It's all good. But my question is, how did you come across it, or how did it enter your mindset and train of thought? Yeah, just give me the beans.
This has probably happened before on the show. Is I do listen to other podcasts. I mean, nothing's as good as this one, obviously. So I slum it every now and then, listen to other podcasts. And it wasn't a movies podcast. It was just sort of a general, sort of a mashup, pop culture, politics, comedy podcast. And now and then they just talk about a movie they've watched or whatever. It'll come up. So it came up. And again, as I've probably mentioned as well, I'm kind of a fan of the zombie. I know the zombie genre's saturated, but I still like it. So I heard about it. Sounded kind of cool. So it was just kind of in the back of my mind. And then I think a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, it showed up on Netflix. I'm like, oh, well, fuck, it's right there. We should do that for the show. And ever since then, it's just been on the list for the show and was going to be this month that I was going to do it. So interesting confluence of events there. But that's where I heard about it. It was out there on a podcast, and I dig the zombies every now and then. So how did you come across it?
A very similar situation. I've always kind of enjoyed or appreciated foreign horror flicks, whether it's Korean or Japanese. I think that they've got a good grasp and feel especially Asian horror flicks, and The Grudge, The Ringu, these kind of things. I've seen those versions of it, the foreign versions, and they're very good. So when I heard that there was another good foreign horror flick from South Korea, that kind of was planted in the back of my mind. And just like yourself, the minute I found it on Netflix, which was about a year ago, I did give it a watch, and it was on my list as well to do on the show. So I'm glad I beat you to the punch, but yeah, we really only do these things at Halloween. Otherwise, I would have brought it up earlier. But just speaking on the zombie genre, you mentioned that the market is oversaturated, and I do agree. Be that as it may, what's your favorite zombie flick? I believe this is the first zombie movie we've done on the show. I can't remember.
We did that Canadian one, Pontypool, which was sort of a zombie movie.
Oh, that's right. We did, Pontypool.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Kind of zombie. So we probably talked about this before, so...
We didn't talk about favorite zombie movies, I don't think.
Okay, go for it. What's your favorite?
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Oh, no, we did. You said you enjoyed Snyder's zombie one, Dawn of the Dead, or whatever.
Yeah, Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we did mention it.
Yeah.
I like the original, like, Night of the Living Dead, like Romero, and then there was that other one, which was Zombie, which is an Italian one. I think I mentioned that the zombie bites the shark. Do you recall?
Oh, that does kind of ring a bell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how they pulled that off.
Bites the shark. We should do that. I gotta see that, man. That's fucked up, man. Does the shark turn into a zombie?
I won't spoil it for you.
So. Oh, man, Zombie Shark. That's a movie right there. We gotta write that script.
That was Jaws the Revenge.
Zombie Jaws.
Zombie Jaws. He walks on land now.
The thing with Jaws the Revenge is that shark's not a zombie. That shark's, like, sentient.
Yeah, you're right. He is sentient. The smartest shark in the world, right? You can use the force.
Yeah, well, shit. Oh, yeah, let's write this script. That'd be great.
Speaking of Jaws, did you ever see or play the game Jaws Unleashed?
There's a video game of Jaws?
Yeah. Oh, man.
No,
okay.
I'm not aware of this.
There are shitty Atari video games or Super Nintendo video games of Jaws, which are pretty funny, and they're shitty.
Yeah.
But there is one actual good game where you are the shark. Like in the other video games, you're trying to kill the shark. In Jaws Unleashed, you are Jaws. And you go around causing death, mayhem, and destruction throughout the marine ecosystem. The best part is, though, watch the trailer. So I want you to remember this. Put it in your mind now. Find a little place to slide this idea in after we're done this show. Before you go to bed, YouTube that. Jaws Unleashed trailer. Pretty fantastic.
I'm just going to put it on YouTube right now, just so it's there. What's it called? Jaws Unleashed?
Jaws Unleashed.
Oh, shit. Yeah, okay. 100% I'm watching that after the show.
And I think they're making a kind of a rip-off game of that. I don't know for what system or if it's for the computer. I saw something recently, but oh man, that was a fun game. So I played that on the Xbox.
They should do more of that, like an alien game where you're the alien or a predator, like that kind of stuff. They should do that more. They do more of that.
They've done stuff like that. There are alien games, like I think it's, what is it? Wasn't it Alien Colonial Marines or something along those lines where you could be the Marine or you could be the alien? I remember there was
multiplayer, I think it
was multiplayer where you could do that. But I think the alien would be kind of boring. But recently, and I haven't played it and I've always wanted to, it's just even for the latest consoles, Friday the 13th, the game, Jason, and I want to play that. That looks interesting.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I was reading about that. Yeah, where it's an asymmetrical multiplayer game, right? One guy's Jason and everybody else is the screaming, sexed up teenagers. That's a really cool idea.
I think it's a cool idea. I don't think it hit all the right notes for a game, but I think it hit all the right notes in terms of atmosphere. So I think the best part is when you're Jason. If you're the counselors or whatever, the teenagers, it sucks. But I think if you're Jason, it's like fucking sweet.
Yeah, fuck, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing idea.
All right, well, let's get back on track here. How about I get right into a plot synopsis here?
Yeah, let's roll it.
Okay. Fund manager and workaholic Seok Woo is in the process of getting divorced, mainly due to his not caring enough about family. His professional career has also created a strain between him and his daughter, whom wants her father to take the train to be with her mom instead. After not being able to attend his daughter's recital, and failing to provide a meaningful birthday gift, he agrees to escort her on the train the next day. The train is bust full of characters, mainly focusing on a tough guy and his pregnant wife, 2 elderly sisters, a high school baseball team, a homeless man, and South Korean's version of Walter Peck, businessman and appropriately named Yeon Suk, just prior to departing. Seriously, that's the guy's name. Yeon Suk. Yeah, they never mention it in the movie, but that's the character's name.
I mean, it probably means something different in Korean, but hell yeah.
Just prior to departing, a sick girl with a bite mark on her leg boards the train and bites a train attendant. Soon after, chaos erupts and zombies are everywhere. Our main characters survive the first wave of attacks by closing the train car doors and blocking views through the doors. Apparently, zombies cannot understand opening them and do not chase what they cannot see. TV news broadcasts on board the train alert the passengers that this is happening across the country. The aforementioned COO Yan Suk demands the conductor to head to Busan where his mother is, and Seok-woo calls a business associate to alert him of the safety at the next scheduled train stop of Daejeon. And his associate says that the area is quarantined with the military, but instructs him to go a different way upon arrival so he can pick him up and get him to safety. At the station, Seok-woo leads his daughter a different way than the others, leading his daughter to be further disappointed in the selfishness of her father. Before he can come up with a different excuse, the military personnel, now zombified, attack in all areas of the station. Many of the first wave train survivors are overrun and bitten, including most of the baseball team. The remaining survivors barely escape a horde of military zombies chasing and falling all over them in the station. However, all survivors are now separated into different train cars, with zombies between them. Seok-woo, the tough guy, and South Korean's version of Barry Bonds lead the remaining survivors back through the train cars, fending off and tricking zombies along the way. As they reach the final train car where the other survivors are, Young Saki convinces the others not to let them in, not being sure if they are infected or not. They eventually get in, but not before the tough guy and one of the elderly sisters is killed. And then these heroic survivors are sent into the next train car due to the demands of COO Saki. The surviving sister, disillusioned from the events, opens the previous train car door to be with her sister, even though she's a zombie, and this causes the death of most of the unnamed survivors, yet Yan Saki somehow survives. The train stops on the way to Busan due to the derailment of another train car, so the conductor sends a PA message to the survivors to get to the next available train on another track. The conductor goes first, but somehow the survivors choose the wrong train and then get rammed by a fire-lit runaway train heading in the wrong direction in the train yard, which then pins some of the survivors. Young Saki manages to get Barry Bonds and his girlfriend and the conductor killed. The homeless man saves the pregnant wife and Seok-woo's daughter. The three remaining survivors catch the moving train started by the conductor as they barely escape World War SK. However, COO Saki is also on board and is now turning into a zombie. After turning, Seok-woo fights off Saki but is bitten. Before turning himself, he instructs the pregnant wife how to stop the train and has an emotional goodbye with his daughter. Just prior to becoming one of the Walking Dead, Seok-woo remembers the joy of holding his newborn daughter in his last human action to throw himself off the train. As the train arrives in Busan, the human army is about to kill the pregnant wife and Seok-woo's daughter, but the daughter's tearful recital song saves their lives as the army recognizes they are human after all. The end. So Jeff, I didn't have time to make it too humorous, but just based on that, what are your original thoughts?
It definitely sounds like a film that's going to hang on its setting, right? Like you say, simple, and there's a lot of zombie shit going on there, so can you film a movie on a train? And as far as I know, it's one of 3 movies that basically takes place, well, maybe 4, that takes place on a train almost exclusively. So that's where it's going to live and die. So if I'm listening to that, that's where I'm thinking, okay, they got to make the train work.
Okay, so what are the other movies that come to mind with all on the train? I know there's that Steven Seagal one.
Snowpiercer, which is also a Korean movie, I think.
Oh
yeah, Under Siege.
Under Siege, that's right. Yeah, Under Siege. And Snowpiercer, you're right. I haven't seen it, but I heard about that one. That's also a Korean one, right?
Yeah. Snowpiercer is a Korean production with almost all American actors.
Okay. So you've seen
like Chris Evans and Ed Harris. Yeah, I've seen Snowpiercer.
Okay.
Curious specimen. Well, isn't it Under Siege 2 is on the train? Under Siege 1 is on the boat.
This I can't recall. I think I've seen only one of them, and I think it was the one on the train, so I can't recall which one that was.
Yeah.
Didn't it have Tommy Lee Jones on it?
The first one did. Yeah. Yeah, the first one, Tommy Lee Jones was the bad guy.
Oh, okay. So maybe I'm getting him confused. Maybe I've seen both of them, and I don't even remember.
I think the second one's on the train. I think the first one's on a boat.
Well, that just goes to show you the lasting appeal of Steven Seagal movies, so
yeah.
No need to rewatch.
What's going to happen is tonight you're going to go to bed, and you're going to wake up in the middle of the night, a little foggy, and you look out the window, and Steven Seagal is looking at you.
His face.
It's not going to do anything.
His current face and form. I won't have enough of a view of his body. It expands the window pane in my room, so.
yeah, it definitely does, yeah. So, okay, so there was Snowpiercer. I was thinking of this one. I was thinking of A Murder on the Orient Express, of which there's been 2 theatrical versions. I was thinking of Throw Mama from the Train.
Oh, throw mama from the train, even though that wasn't exclusively on a train, though.
Yeah, I've never actually seen Throw Over from the Train, but I know what it's called, so I assume it takes place on the train.
And actually, oh, now that you mentioned it, that was on my list to do in the future. That was one of them.
Oh,
I have not seen that movie since the 80s, so.
Oh, I've never seen it, so.
Well, you never know. That one might pop up sometime in the future. All right.
Yeah.
Well, let me hit you with some trivia here before we get into the movie here. This movie, 2016, in the Cannes Film Festival, and when it was released in Korea, this was the first Korean film to break the audience record of over 10 million theater goers. So it was fairly popular in Korea. It had a budget of about $8.5 to $9 million, and its worldwide gross was $93 million. So
wow.
Considering that, I think that's a safe bet that it was fairly profitable. And it became the highest grossing Korean film of all time at the time in Malaysia, Hong Kong, and Singapore. And it has a very high Metacritic and Rotten score. And it has won a whole bunch of awards. The Asian Film Awards, like their equivalent of the Oscars, acting, directing, editing, visual effects, costume design. Whether you're talking about, the Asian Film Awards, there's Blue Dragon Film Awards, there's both Bui Film Awards, and then you had some Korean Associated Film Critic Awards, Biksang Arts Awards, you just name it. Yeah, I mean, it's...
Pick one, guys, come on.
So many. Mainly highlighting that acting for Seok-woo, the main character, as well as the tough guy. They are the ones who are getting most of the critical acclaim, and I'd like to talk about that. And then also had the Best Horror Film Award in 2017 in the Saturn Awards here in the U.S. And Fangoria, that old Fangoria magazine, it's like a horror magazine. I think they have their own awards. So they have Best Actor. He was nominated, the main actor. And Best Foreign Language Film, not just under a horror category. And it won. No, it's pretty high on the critical acclaim side. Some of these actors, the main actor who plays the father and the pregnant wife, they've also appeared in numerous other films together. I dug the acting in this movie, so I want to see more. So, not much to talk about there. I mean, with it being a foreign film, it's a little bit difficult to get a lot of details on the making of this film. And I don't own the DVD, so I don't have any behind-the-scenes stuff. But based on anything there, anything of a standout of interest?
I mean, it's good to know that it was well-received, won some awards. Like, South Korea has a robust filmmaking industry and tradition. That being said, not a lot of that stuff makes its way west in a mainstream manner, right? And this has some buzz around it. So I'm not surprised to hear that it's been up for awards and has some acclaim there. So it's good to hear. It's nice we watch a lot of Hollywood films. It's just how it is, right? So it's nice to get some buzz around a film that's not a Hollywood film, that's a foreign film, and give you the impetus to watch it. And Netflix picks up some of that stuff. So it's good to get some of that buzz so you have a reason to watch it.
And that's right. And I think there's another one that's out there right now, which is on my must-see watch list that I really want to watch, is Parasite. So I'm hearing really good things about that. Have you heard about that one?
No.
Oh, so, Hey man, maybe we should, anytime you want to go together, if we should hit that up. I'm sure it plays at a couple of theaters around town, so love to watch that one. Look that one up and let me know if you're interested.
All right, right on.
Okay, well, let's get into the movie now, unless you have anything else to add, Jeff.
No, man, let's jump in.
Okay, so let's break out this opening act here where we can, you're meeting the characters mainly, and we'll talk about everything here, including the first sequence, which is the first wave of zombie attacks when everyone, you're meeting everyone, not just the father and the daughter and even the grandmother. You're meeting all the characters you'll see on the train as they board the train, which is the tough guy and his pregnant wife, the baseball heroes there, as well as the guy's girlfriend who's the cheerleader, the two elderly sisters, Walter Peck character, or anyone else that you feel stands out for you. And that the first wave of attacks, which includes the girl who was bitten, boards the train, and then you immediately get that first biting scenes and the chaos erupts, and then they close the doors on them in the first wave of attack there. So that one girl puts the wet paper on the door.
Yeah.
And then they're kind of secure at that point. But I believe some of the characters are somewhat separated at that point, but we'll stop it there. So tell me your original reactions and thoughts to the first act here.
The tough guy character in his blue blazer, and was he wearing a scarf or something as well? I don't know.
Yeah, he was wearing some kind of scarf. I wasn't sure about his ensemble there, but I like it.
It was an odd ensemble for a guy who they clearly meant to come across as a tough guy. But that was my favorite character through this point. I dug him. He was kind of a dick, but a noble one. You knew he was just his build. You knew he was going to fuck some shit up. So I was looking forward to what he was going to do. But I really enjoyed his performance. I thought he was great. Sort of the initial zombies I thought were really good as well. We didn't get much of a sense of it at the start, and maybe we could talk about it later, but we're in the fast zombie genre here. You got your two flavors of zombies, slow and fast, and you got the fast ones, and that's okay. I'm more a fan of more of a slow zombie guy for just myself, but when you're doing the fast zombies, they did a good job of like those really unnatural body movements. They're doing like some pop and lock shit.
Oh, yeah. That's a great description, pop and lock. That's right.
Yeah.
That's kind of creepy.
Great.
So I like those kind of movements, yeah. The contortion.
Oh, yeah. Super creepy. Yeah, contortion. It's like you look at it and you're like, oh, shit. God damn. I go, your arm should move that. Well, where's your leg going? I go, fuck off. That's not good. Yeah, I love it. So all of that was good, the initial introduction there. And there's a lot of characters. Like I was unsure of who I was going to be cheering for. Like they had the sisters, like you said. They had the high school baseball team, the baseball heroes. Actually, that's a really good name for them, baseball heroes. That sounds very Asian, and that's a really racist thing to say. But
kind of funny. It's like that. What is that old Nintendo game, Baseball All Stars?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that was a great game.
So that was good. One of my favorite parts of every zombie movie, like it always comes in the first act, and it's to see sort of the setup. You see sort of the hints of the breakdown in whether it's the security or society overall or whatever. Like you just start to see the cracks, pillars of society. I thought it was good. Like it was setting things up really well.
Yeah, and I completely agree with what you said. The one thing I really enjoyed in this first act was they actually not just took the time with the two big main characters, which is the father and the daughter. And I should mention the daughter's name is Sue-Ann, so we can refer to her as Sue-Ann now as we talk about the movie. But they didn't just focus on them. They gave quite a good amount of time in this first half an hour here to really show you the other characters that we're going to be focusing on. We talked about the tough guy, and he's talking to Sue-Ann and wants to go to the bathroom, and we're seeing he's kind of watching his wife and caring for his wife as she's in the bathroom because she's pregnant and not feeling the best. We spent some time with the baseball guys and the team and the cheerleader and even the elderly sisters, right? We have a lot of conversations just between those characters themselves. I like that when you take time, even though they are really B characters. And we're talking about in a TV show, you got a shitload of time to explore everybody. But a very skillful writer will be able to get something meaningful across to kind of hook the audience and get them attached to these characters, even if they are not the main protagonists. And I thought that there was a good balance there in the introduction to these characters. I thought, and while simultaneously building tension, because we are building tension in this first act, because obviously I just want to talk about Zombie Deer, which was fucking awesome. At the beginning of the movie, I don't know if you remember, the guy hits the deer and then he drives.
Oh yeah,
completely unrelated deer, character. Yeah, leaves. This is the first shots of the movie, and then pans away. It looks like the deer's dead. He drives off, and then you get the contortion of the deer. I thought that was great visual effects, and my first reaction was, I need a movie of this called Kingdom of the Deer, starring Shatner. So,
starring William Shatner, Kingdom of the Zombie Deer, I think that's what we mean.
Well, actually, why don't we just get to what we really want? Kingdom of the Shatners.
It's just an army of zombie Shatners. All contortion and shit. He also has antlers for some reason.
Yeah, but going back, I thought this first act built the tension very well. Because even as they're going to the train station really early morning, you're getting that sense of dread. Like there's ambulances running around early morning. You're saying, well, what the fuck's happening at this hour? Like 4 or 5 a.m. as they're heading towards the train station. And then you can see apartment fires in the distances. And you're getting a slow build. And I think as they are in the train station, you're getting some weird movements in the background of people walking strangely or moving strangely, or some things are happening. I thought there's a good build-up. And then even on the train with the girl who's bitten and is going into convulsions or seizures as she's turning. I thought that's building the tension up very well. And I agree with you. The contortion's creepy. I also liked the makeup that they had on the zombies here. I thought they did a really good job. Yeah, I agree with you. I'm not sure if I like slow zombies or fast zombies. I think I like it both. But in a setting like this, it has to be fast zombies. Because
it makes more sense.
It makes more sense. Slow zombies, you're on the train, you can get off the train, you're kind of safe, and you're good to go. So, what else did I make a note of here? Okay, let's talk about the father and the daughter. You're getting that sense at the beginning. There's going to be a payoff at the end about the song and the recital. He didn't attend. He saw a video and she didn't sing it because he wasn't there. You're seeing the sadness. He's going through a divorce with his wife or ex-wife now at the time. His mother, who's the grandmother, is really concerned about, the family and all that stuff. And she probably doesn't really approve of the way he's conducting his life, career only, family second. What did you think of the introduction to that relationship? I know you're not a father technically yourself, but I'm sure you can relate.
Not technically or philosophically, for that matter. Not really in any way at all.
Well, you can relate. You're human.
Anyway, actually that is a really good question because often I get really impatient in a lot of, like in situations where it's family drama. It's usually husband and wife drama that I don't like. Like when it's mom and dad and the kids drama, that drives me nuts. I hate that. I just can't stand it. When it's more like siblings or like father, daughter, or mother, like I have a little bit more patience for it. I just find it a bit tired. I often find it like obvious. Well, you know what I mean? Like people who aren't blood related have close relationships as well that like you can mind. So it's almost a cliche. Okay, well mom and dad are getting divorced, and so dad has a strained relationship with the daughter. All right, I've seen that relationship. Thanks. Can you give me something other than that? Because not everybody has an in to that relationship. You do, right? Because you have 2 daughters. So you can relate to that. I can sort of extrapolate that. That being said, they did it in this movie. Really worked for me because he wasn't, like they usually do one or the other. Like he's a great dad and she's a real rebel. And so they have trouble relating. Or he's a deadbeat dad and she's a straight A student. Like that's usually what they do, right? Like they do the dichotomy. And here, she's a regular kid, super adorable, but a regular kid. And he's just a guy trying to make it work. Like he knew her, like I forgot her birthday. He didn't forget her birthday. He remembered her birthday. He just forgot what the fucking gift he gave her, whatever, like 2 months earlier or whatever, you know? So they did something a little bit unexpected with that. Like you could see he was trying. He wasn't a deadbeat. He was a good guy trying to be a good dad and hits the in-between on that. I was like, okay, I got her the wrong gift, but I got her a gift. Mm-hmm. So that's a bit more complex as opposed to, I forgot your birthday. I got to run down to the gas station and buy a DVD of Jean-Claude Van Damme's Double Impact or some shit. Like,
that'd be an awesome gift.
That'd be a great gift. So it was good. I feel like they played with a cliche a little bit there. They just turned it just slightly on its head. So I dug it.
I think that's a fantastic point you brought up, Jeff. He did remember. He does care. I think one of the things that they either do well or they didn't do good enough, it's right on that gray area, is they show that he is not a complete neglectful father. He's just a guy who's seems to be working hard, because they don't really say that he just completely ignores his family. The only aspect of the relationship or the poor relationship or the strain that we have in this movie is she just says that, oh, well, you just think more about yourself. There's a couple of lines that are given later. So let's come back to that. But I agree with you. I did enjoy these scenes because it does seem that he's not a complete neglectful piece of shit dad. He has tried. I made that note. The only point I'll make here is what sells this thing, and I think it's what's going to sell further scenes as well, is the actor who plays Sue-Ann. Mm-hmm. He does a fantastic job in this movie.
Oh, yeah. She was great.
Yeah.
Like, how many times have you seen a kid do this good a job? She was young.
Yeah. She should have been Anakin.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Like, why? She was really good. Yeah, she should have been Anakin. Totally.
Yeah, she was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's move on. So how about them locking themselves up in the cars and the zombies just stopping the attack because they can't open the doors, even though the doors are unlocked, and they stop attacking once they put up the paper. Did you buy that?
Yeah, I think
that's good
I
enough
bought
for
it.
this movie, or do you feel that hinders the movie a little bit, or takes away some of the tension?
I bought it. I mean, there was a few things there. They're making their own rules for how these zombies operate. They're more what they can hear as opposed to what they can see, or perhaps what they can smell. That's fine. They don't have minds, they don't have brains. So if they can't process visual information, then they can't see you. They're not coming for you. If it's more, they go towards sounds. That's fine. You can make your own rules for your zombies in your movie.
And I agree, yeah.
So, yeah, I was fine with that. I kept asking, especially the start here when all this was happening, like, when is somebody just going to close a fucking door? You know what I mean? Like, they're running to these different cars. Close the fucking door behind you, dude. Like, they don't figure that out until, like, halfway through Act 2. They close the door in the cars. Like, just close the door, dude. Just close the fucking door. I was frustrated with the humans at that point. But I was glad that they established these rules for those zombies in sort of natural narrative ways without exposition. Mm-hmm. And other stuff comes up later, right? They ask the question. I don't think they're going to react if they can't see us. So they test it out, and that works. How it played out was a great explanation for how they operated.
And I agree. I mean, I don't mind having different movies have their own set of guidelines and rules for zombies to act. I think really the only qualm I have about this whole sequence when the zombie attack starts on the train is how quickly zombies turned from being bitten into zombies. Because it's a matter of plot and movie convenience to build up the tension and escalate things quickly in terms of time. So I get that from a movie making perspective. We don't want guys bitten to wait 5 minutes before he turns. But the problem is when you establish that, and they do that at the end with Walter Peck there, and even the main character, it takes time for them to turn. And this first character who boards the train, she's bitten, she's having problems, she starts seizing or convulsing, dies, then turns. It's a matter of minutes, right? Now, we have here, she bites the attendant then starts contorting and 10 seconds and is a zombie. So I don't know what the rules are there, but I found that was the only thing I noticed right off the bat that I didn't like, but it's something I can let go because you want to build the tension fast. So it's that kind of movie.
I agree with you completely there. What they established is it is fairly quick. It's not like for example, in Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead, it took a fair amount of time for somebody to turn. It took maybe hours. And this, it's quick, whether it's 5 minutes or 12, it's fairly fast. But you're right, they weren't quite consistent with how long it took. And another zombie movie that I'm not a fan of, which was World War Z, I don't know, we're Canadian, we'll call it World War Z. One thing they did there is they established how long it took exactly, like by the second.
Right.
I don't know if you've seen it, but
I've seen it, but it's so long. So did they keep that consistent through the movie?
Yeah, they did, because one of the first things that happens really early on in the movie is Brad Pitt kind of counts, like he sees somebody bit, and I can't remember why he was counting. It was like kind of a part of something else, but he had a reference.
Practicing in real life.
Yeah, he's practicing in real life because he's a prepper for sure. That guy's a prepper. But it was just like, okay, 1, 2, 3. It was like 8 seconds or something like that. And it was a good way to establish how long it takes. That's actually a common thing in all zombies. So you have no idea how long it takes for somebody to turn. So, yeah. So they fall victim to that for sure.
And they're doing it for dramatic stakes instead of story consistency. And that's fine. I think that's really my only gripe. I guess the only question I'll have before we move to finish off this first act here is, did they build the suspense and the tension good enough at this point for you to really say, okay, shit now, stakes are real, I got 2 feet planted on the ground here, I'm leaning forward, watching the TV, I'm really interested. Did they do that for you here, or was something missing?
I mean, I want to say yes and no, and I hate answering it that way. Yes, in the sense that the main character and his daughter, like I was invested in them, and the setting was cool, so I was into it that way. The only reason I would say no is because I didn't get a sense of, and this is just maybe a personal preference, is like the larger, like how widespread is the problem, because I kind of have an apocalypse fixation. So like as the whole world burning down, is just Korea, like what's going on? But I think from a narrative perspective, yeah, I'll say yeah, sure.
I'm into it, but I think there's just some small sense of tension that I felt was missing by the end here. Things seem to kind of, as they move on to the second act here, until they get off into the train station, that train stop, I felt that things were a bit easy. And I think that was a bit of a disappointment for me, but let's just move on. So next, we have some scenes here. So this next act here, there's some sequences where they kind of regroup, find each other on the train while they're avoiding the zombies. Then they get off on the station, where this is called the Daejeon station, where apparently a part of it is quarantined, that Wu finds out from his associate that's working for him and instructs him to go a different way, and he and his daughter and the homeless man go the different route, but in the end they're bombarded by all the military zombies anyways, and they all have to run back onto the train, and then they're split on the train as well. And then you have that sequence, which is about 5-7 minutes long, where the one group who's with the COOs on the car 13 or whatever it is, and our other main characters who have survived, they're in car 9, and they have to get across those 4 cars by either fighting or tricking or avoiding the zombies. So let's talk about all these scenes as a whole here. So you want me to go first, or do you want to just step in and start talking?
Yeah, no, why don't you start this one? You start.
Okay, so the one thing I did note here is, you're talking about before how you were getting a sense of, is it just this country, or What's the scope outside of the train? So actually the next thing I wrote down is as they are moving towards the next train, we are seeing more chaos because they're skipping the next train station, the next train stop, and you're seeing people on that station running away or desperately trying to get on the moving train, which is not stopping, and then zombies are tackling them and biting them. They're also seeing the news reports that this is happening countrywide, so I really like that. You see all these other shots. And then the train stop sequence where they do get off at Daejeon. I loved every aspect of this train sequence here. The main points I did like is, again, the relationship beat with the father and the daughter. I don't know who I side with here. He's retrieving some information from his associate saying, well, he knows people are going to be quarantined. He didn't volunteer the information, but this is dog-eat-dog survival of the fittest sort of situation. He's just contacted his associate saying, well, he'll have a guy meet him there, right? And it's supposed to be safe. It's not like an army or a whole bunch of people waiting for them to get him out of safety. It's just for him and his daughter. So that's why he didn't volunteer the information. But his daughter is disappointed that he alerted the others. It's an interesting kind of conflict there. I don't know who I side with. I don't know what I would do in that situation. Now, push comes to shove. Push comes to shove, I can imagine, and I'll be honest, I'm going to save my family.
Yeah.
Especially if it's your kids. If it's just yourself, I mean, you're going to volunteer the information and help as many people as you can. But I got kids. I want to make sure that they're okay. So I don't know who I side with, so I like that aspect of it. Then going to the action itself, I loved every aspect once the zombies started attacking. It was fast, it was furious, it was chaotic. I loved how they were falling out of the windows, falling onto the tarmac, landing on the train, rolling off the train. I like that tough guy who calling Seok-Woon the asshole because Seok-Woo didn't save that guy in the first wave of attack. He was too busy just thinking of himself, but the tough guy saves him. And I like all the pressure against the glass, and they're kind of the last guys on the train, and that race to get on the train. I loved all of these scenes. I thought it was tense. I thought it was well filmed. You're talking about the contortion, and the guys have all broken arms. I don't know if you noticed the one zombie who fell out of the bridge platform onto the train, rolled off the train, landed on a tarmac. He had a fucked up arm, and it was hanging and dangling on top of his head. He's running with it like that. I thought that was fantastic. So I liked these whole scenes here. I'll end it there, and then we can talk about the sequence as they're moving through the cars as they get back on the train. But what did you think of these scenes, including all the train station stuff here?
Well, just talk about the zombie effects for a second. I mean, the zombie effects are great. Basically, like parkour zombies. That was the movements. There was a scene, I think, when one of the baseball heroes gets turned, and the kid's there, and he, like, gets up as he turns. He, like, gets up. He's on the ground, sprawled in, like, this real messed up manner, and he gets up, and his limbs are all fucked up, but it's all the actor doing it. Like, it's great. It was fantastic. I loved the panic where, like, they're all coming down the stairs from the platform, like, okay, we got to get out of here. We can see the army guys, and then, like, you get to the bottom, and then we realize you only see, like, their feet. I love how they shot that. Like, they're coming down, and you see the feet, and then you get down, and you realize they're all zombies, and they're trying to get back up, and there's guys on the down escalator and shit, and it's just chaos. And that's when the stakes kind of get rose, because, like, people started dying right there. They started getting eaten. I'm like, oh, shit, they're just going to start killing people off here. Like, they're not getting everybody home here.
Yeah, for some of the first wave survivors, they're getting bitten.
Exactly, yeah. I wasn't sure what the nature of all of that was going to be for the movie. And okay, yeah, no, they're getting fucked up. I love that on the stairs. I thought it was great. And yeah, like everything else was fantastic. It was great. So good. Maybe one of my best sequences, favorite sequences of the movie. When you talk about him protecting his daughter there and they're kind of opposing each other, like you say, what would you do? And it's certainly from a narrative perspective for the movie, yeah, like it makes sense. Like this guy's, I don't really give a shit about all these strangers here. I'm going to save my kid. I think that most people would make that choice that he made. It felt real. I've been watching a lot of Star Trek lately, and one of the messages of Star Trek is you have to be the person you want to be in order to be the person you want to be. Like, if you want to be better, you have to just be better. You got to be that person. And that's kind of who his daughter is. There's some things that are more important. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you got to be a good man. If you're not good, and if you don't do what's right, then what's the point of you living? You're just perpetuating the things that aren't good, that don't matter. Like, I feel like they were trying to deliver that message through their relationship. Like, no, it's not about me. You got to be good. You have to be a good man. You can't be a good dad if you're not a good man. In order to be a good man, you got to worry about more than just me. And he's like, I don't give a shit about anything. I got to make sure that you survive. So he's still being selfless. He's not thinking of himself. He's thinking of his daughter.
That's right. So that's why I find it's interesting because you can see it from two sides of the coin.
Yeah, but both sides are kind of adjacent because he's not a dick about it. He's not in it for himself. He's in it for her. But you can't just be in it for me. You got to be in it for everybody. And that was interesting. It's not black and white.
That's right.
There are gray shades to being good. And that was great. I thought that was fantastic.
And I agree 100%. To me, that was actually, even though we're here to watch zombies, and it was fucking sweet to see, this was my favorite zombie sequence in the movie as well as this train station sequence. And it was fantastic. But the best part of this whole sequence here was their conversation. That's what's really drawing me in. So now we have the guys, they've boarded the train. Mm-hmm. Walter Peck, the rest of the survivors are in car 13. The daughter, the father, tough guy, his pregnant wife, homeless man, and baseball dude. They are in car 9 and they want to get to car 3. So they got to go through 3 or 4 cars to get there.
Yeah.
They have a few sequences here. One where they just kind of battle their way. Oh, actually, they have to get to the pregnant wife and the daughter who's locked in the bathroom with the homeless man.
Right.
They go through 2 cars by themselves. One using some kind of phone trick, distracting the zombies with the phone. Another's pure just, let's rush them and swing at them. And then they meet up with them. Then there's a bit of tension there as they're kind of dodging and waiting because they're going through tunnels, dark tunnels where they can kind of do some more movement. And then when it's light outside, as they exit the tunnels, they got to be more quiet and still. And then when they're all together, after they reach the bathroom, then they go on the top where the luggage rack is. Then they kind of scroll across, and they have that just before they get to car 13. So what did you think of these scenes before they get to the rest of the survivors? How effective was it for you? Did you enjoy these sequences? Was it tense? Give me your thoughts.
Yeah, I thought they worked pretty well because, again, you get some more establishment of the rules of the zombies. And they do it sort of naturally, like the characters discover, they can't really see in the dark, so that's fine. They respond to sound. So they lure them away, right, with the phone. And that's good. Like, I thought that was fine. And I love the tough guy. Like, he was the fucking boss. He's just beating the fuck out of these zombies. I thought it was great. I mean, because you get a little action injected into, it's not really an action movie, right? It's more suspense, but you get their fight. This is sort of the main conflict of the film, not unlike Snowpiercer, by the way, is like, we got to get to that car up there and we got to figure out a way to do it. And it's almost like every car has a different challenge. So even though it's on a train, you feel like it's sort of this confined area, not much can go on. It's like a video game. It's like each car is a different level.
Oh, man. Yeah, I wrote the same exact thing down. It felt like it was a different stage of a video game. Each car. I agree. I liked it. I think I'm going to touch on the score here. I felt that the score left me underwhelmed in this movie. It needed to build a bit of the tension more in these scenes. The tone they decided to take was a bit more of, I wouldn't say lighthearted, but more upbeat of a tone of a musical score. And I didn't like that. I thought that betrayed the tone of the movie that they were trying to set. It wasn't tense enough. And I think that was partly due to the underwhelming score. But I did like the different ways they were dealing with the zombies. One brute force, one phone trick, distraction, another one just simply fooling them in the tunnel and going on the rack. But I like that sense of tension as they get to the bathrooms and then they have to have that conversation. The tough guy and his wife and then Seok-woo and his daughter and all that stuff. I like that. And they have to keep dodging the zombies, opening and closing the doors at the appropriate times. So I did enjoy that stuff. But I think it could have been a bit better. I was slightly disappointed in these scenes. I wouldn't say by a lot. I just wanted a bit more tension in these scenes, just to rack up the tension. It wasn't enough there. So they get to car 13. COO motherfucker Walter Peck is convinced the remaining survivors not to let them in because they probably are infected. They've tied down the door. There's some tension there. Zombies are trying to get through. Baseball guy puts his arm through one of the doors into the last remaining car. The other survivors, including Mr. COO, is trying to close that door. Tough guy sacrifices himself in the scene so his wife and the remaining survivors can escape alive. And that guy is literally holding everything together. What did you think of these scenes? And I'm interested in your take from, I know I'm poking fun at the COO guy. I'm curious to hear your take on him. You haven't talked about him.
Okay. I just don't want to forget. We'll talk about the COO guy and we'll talk about the action that's happening here. I just kept wondering, why the fuck? They're running to the front they get into the car where the survivors are reasonably safe. And tough guy is closing the door. And there's one zombie there. And our hero, whatever his name is, he's got the baseball bat. Everybody's trying to get into their car. It's like, why don't you help? You don't need to get in there. Just help, dude.
Yes.
Close the fucking door.
And you're safe.
You're safe. You'll be fine.
You're done. Yeah.
I was just like, this is some questionable logic here. They needed something else there because all he had to do was, like, there was one zombie there. They needed to, like, Spartan kick that zombie back, or he had the baseball bat, and then they could close that door and everything fine. They didn't need to get into the other car. They didn't want them in. Fine. They had their own car to themselves. It would have just fine. So that really frustrated me.
I agree with you. I don't think I had that thought when I was watching the movie, but you mention it, and I do agree. The focus really wasn't on that. I think they still wanted to create some tension. They could have done it in a better way. For example, that particular door could have been cracked. So they could have had that particular partition on the door cracked. They closed it.
Yeah.
But because they don't have any way to block the view, the zombies are still putting pressure on that door. And that particular one is cracking, and there's a certain amount of time left. And so they're really trying to get into
Yeah, like the tension there would have been great, right? It's like they're coming in. We only have so much time. That would have been much better than what they did. And yeah, all right, that's fine. So if we're going to talk about CEO Walter Suck, one thing that I really like to do when I watch zombie narrative is examine who or what types of characters that they create and cast as the good guy and the bad guy in the zombie epic. Whether it's 28 Days Later or this or Walking Dead or Dawn of the Dead, what types of characters do they create to fill those roles? Because that's an interesting reflection on, one, the culture and the filmmakers. This is kind of your opportunity for a social commentary is who are the good guys and who are the bad guys? And it's pretty clear here, obviously, right? And South Korean culture, as an outsider who's never been there and doesn't know anything about their culture, from what I understand, it's clearly traditional. You have your set roles. There's virtue to working hard, putting in long hours in order to advance. I mean, that's a common enough thing, but it feels like a very rigid place. So the CEO guy's obviously the bad guy. He's a douche. And we have that, like, basically homeless guy who is one of the heroes at the end of the day.
That's right.
So then you kind of take a look at, okay, who is portrayed as a hero, who's portrayed as a villain? Well, our main character, who's basically middle management, hero, CEO, bad guy, homeless guy, hero, baseball heroes, tough guy, hero, and then all of the other people who follow. They're like lemmings, if you will, the masses, the people who just do what the man tells them to do. Bad guys, the bad guys. So I wasn't focusing so much on the CEO. I was focusing more on, like, the roles that everybody was playing, the roles that the movie was casting for everybody. Who are you? Is this type of person? Because there are just types. Is this type of person to be, venerated or not? That was what was interesting to me. I don't come to any conclusions on that, but that's a neat perspective.
I don't have any conclusions. I think Act 3 kind of pushes him in towards total villainy as he kind of completely saves himself while pretty much dooming others to death or being zombies as he escapes. But up until this point, he has some sense about his logic.
Yeah, there's logic to his position. We can't take the risk.
At this point, one, he just says, can't stop here, let's keep moving. That's really the first act. What are you doing? And it makes sense, even though you go about it a different way, but he's a COO, so he's used to barking orders, probably because he knows that people may not do anything without action or being told what to do. He's familiar with that in terms of his position. He just wants to ensure that's getting done, the right decision's getting done. And then the second thing here, before he starts pushing people to their death, he's just saying, well, he's scared, legitimately, and he is somewhat right. If you're in that car, are you going to let these people in not knowing if they're infected or not? We don't know the cause of anything. Who knows if they've been bitten? Who knows if, could it be you have to be bitten? You inhale something? You just have to touch something? Who knows, right? So I have a question for you. If you're in that last car, are you siding with that COO? Or it's tough to say?
Oh, no, it is tough to say. You're not wrong. What I was thinking was we've seen how quickly people turn. So I was thinking, well, hey, they're fine. Like, they're obviously fine. Like, you see people bitten and they turn quickly. Maybe, but they're not thinking about that. But that was what I was thinking when I was watching this. They're not. They're obviously fine. Like, they turn quick.
Right. But as an audience member, we know that. As a fictional character in that position, are you thinking that? Who knows? I think they had the right decision. If they knew that there was that other car available for them to be stored in, if they look like they are talking, get them in there and you're safe.
That was fine. Yeah, I didn't have a problem with that, where they were like, okay, you got to go into this other car.
To be quarantined.
Like, they weren't trying to kill him or throw him off the train. Like, you were quarantining him. And yeah, fine. That made sense. I was fine with that. I mean, the thing is, like, how they played it was they made everybody look like a dick for making them quarantine, even though that was a logical decision. So I feel like that didn't quite make a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
that's right.
Everybody could have agreed. Okay, well, listen, you were just fighting zombies for the last hour. Why don't we just put you in this other car here? You'll be fine. You're not going to get swarmed by the horde in the back of the train. You're safe, but you're separated from us. And if you're fine, it'll be all good. And if you're not, well, then we're good. I felt like everybody could have come to that conclusion without how it came about, which is we hate you.
Yeah, that's a bit of a problem, a logic problem with the movie, but to me, I can kind of let that slide. I just felt that the interesting thing in here was I had a hard time deciphering if I really hate this COO character at this point, or if he has a legitimate point of view. Again, one of those gray areas. And I found that an odd switch when we get into the last part of it. Even though it's not a leap for the character, because he's douchey, but then he goes to a different level of douchebaggery and becomes a complete villain almost at that point.
Yeah.
So I found that kind of an odd quick switch, heel turn almost, but you can justify it. I just kind of had a conflict of did I buy it or not? And that was one problem I had with the movie. Now, a couple other things here, actually a few things before we end this act. So I want you to talk about three things. One, there is a sweet scene, again, between the father and the daughter. And she talks about the recital. They talk about that again. And she says she's worried, she's scared. She's asking him, are you scared? And he says, yeah. And she goes, are you going to leave me? And he goes, no. And that's why she's saying, I couldn't sing without you there. And that pays off later. Then we could talk about the scenes where Mr. Tough Guy dies because in an odd scene. So in the previous scene, one of the elderly sisters gets trapped before they all get into this car and then are banished to that other car. One elderly sister didn't survive. She's now a zombie. So there's the other sister who's kind of disillusioned, gets up, sees her zombie sister on the other side of the door, opens the door. But she says something about, you think you're safe and you did the right thing and all these kind of things. She's doing a little bit of a self-monologue. So then all the other train car survivors who didn't let our main characters in, they all die with the exception of Mr. COO, who somehow miraculously survives again. And then there's another scene, which was the only really confusing part of the movie. So this analyst Kim guy calls again to Seok Woo.
Yeah.
The fund manager. And he's talking on the phone. He's asking a question. Did this all start at his company or one of the companies that they manage? Whether he's talking about the breakdown of society, which is kind of what I'm talking about, I'm being towards, or it cannot be about this zombie outbreak. He's kind of just generalizing it as the apocalypse. Did we all start this? Because at the beginning of the movie, we have a scene where Seok Woo's in his office and he's saying, sell everything. And he's saying, well, the people are going to get affected, and Seok Woo didn't give a fuck. Right? So this analyst Kim, now what he's probably considering the end of the world, he's calling him Woo up and saying, did we cause this? And I'm thinking he's talking about, in the general term, we didn't look after each other. We were selfish pigs. We caused part of the downfall of society. He's grouping what's happening here with their kind of unethical practices, which is how I interpret it. I was a bit confused in this conversation, so I'd like to get your take on what that means in terms of the film or any message the film is trying to say here. So again, three things. That call with Analyst Kim, the scene between the father and daughter about him missing the recital and she couldn't sing the song because he wasn't there, and the sister opening up the door and having the rest of the horde come in, and Mr. Tough Guy dies.
Okay, we'll do one by one, and you're going to need to remind me at each point which one is which, just because of whiskey. So listen, we'll do the third one last. I was really confused. The elderly sister, she kind of felt to me like she made it, like, how did she make it to the other side of the door? You know what I mean?
So what happened was the sisters...
It's like she was behind the front line.
So the sisters were split at the train station. One got on in the car with the COO. One got on with Seok Woo.
Oh, so she was in the group that was coming forward then.
Yeah, the sister
like she was in the back. Oh, okay.
The sister that originally died and was the zombie.
Okay, so she got bit. She turns into a zombie, and then her sister opens the door, and she says something about putting others before yourself and all that. It felt like a pretty harsh judgment to all of the survivors in that train car.
Well, she's mad that pretty much that this group caused her sister to die. So there's kind of justification there, right?
Yeah. So I was like, oh, shit, it's a bit much, isn't it, lady? Come on. So there are definitely people in that group that needed their due. They needed their comeuppance. But all of them? Because basically everybody, the CEO survived, right? He made it. So everybody else in that train car had to pay with their lives for following the mob mentality. Like, I can understand, like, they need some kind of payback, but that's pretty harsh payback. That's like a loan shark payback. That's like borrowing like $100 from a loan shark and being a day late and he breaks all of your joints.
Yeah, breaks your thumbs.
It's not a proportional response. Like, shit. So I was like, all right, well, okay. Like, that was a bit much. And especially because they weren't main characters. They were just two old ladies on a train. Who are you? Old? It's like, oh, you know what? My I'm going to let all these zombies in and we're going to fuck all these people, including me. Who are you, lady? That seems like a bit much. Just punishment didn't fit the crime.
The only thing from a dramatic point of view that I look at, I guess you're giving the audience some satisfaction that these people will get what they deserve. And it wasn't by accident. It was a deliberate action.
Sure.
So there's some satisfaction from an audience payoff, a viewer payoff for that. I can see why that's in the film. From a character perspective, I'll put a stretch that she's lost her sister, so she's kind of disillusioned and has kind of lost some of her, I wouldn't say sanity, but her way of thinking. She's in a state of shock and a sense of loss, tragic loss. So she does something that's just stupid out of anger and out of desperation and out of just sadness. So I could see it happening, but I agree with you from what you said. If she has all of her marbles there, it's a little bit harsh to condemn everyone to death at that point. I guess there's some satisfaction from a movie perspective.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, the thing with the satisfaction, though, is nobody who got eaten there was this person that I wanted to get eaten.
Yeah, that's right, because they were all a no-name.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the COO lives. The COO dies there.
Right.
Then there's a payoff. Sure. Yeah.
So what were the other 2 points you wanted to...
The other 2 points to finish out this kind of middle act here is there's another scene between the father and the daughter in which she talks about the recital and she couldn't sing the song and she doesn't want to lose him. And a second thing here is, which is the weird part of the movie, or a bit confusing, is the analyst Kim calls Seok-woo, the main character, the father, and he says some bizarre thing in saying, did we all start this at our company? Are we the cause of this? In which I made a point that he's talking about the unethical way they've treated everybody caused society's downfall.
Right.
I'm assuming that's the thing, because it can't be they're fund managers. They didn't create the virus or whatever.
No, but it was some biotech company, though, right? That
manage?
Yeah.
But they're fund managers.
Yeah, it was a bit vague. Yeah, because I think I'm in the same place that you are, a bit vague, because they're early in the movie, at the start of the movie, they're talking about selling something, right? And how that would impact the market or something.
Could be a translation perspective, because we are reading subtitles, and they're calling Seok-woo a fund manager.
You don't speak Korean?
No, my point is the subtitle translation is fund manager.
Well, because they were talking about selling assets, right? And how that was going to affect the overall market. That was all we kind of got at the start. So is the intimation that them selling assets, did it cause some kind of unrest? Yeah, it doesn't feel like it's connected. I don't know. It doesn't feel connected. I mean, maybe thematically, and I'm just going off on a riff here, maybe thematically, if you take into account the Peck character, Suck Peck?
We can call Suck
Peck. Yeah, he sucks a peck. We're indicting that character, right? Obviously, or that type of person. So are we also then indicting this unfettered idea of capitalism? Like, did we do this? Because they talked about at the start, like, if we sell whatever, this is going to have a profound impact on the market and it's going to affect a lot of people. To say, look, this is the result of what we did. What we did was screw over so many people and now the hordes are at our throat. I don't know.
I don't know either. And that's kind of the interpretation I got is now it's the apocalypse, so the end of the world perspective, and they're just wondering if they were part of the problem in the downfall of society.
Right.
That's kind of where I kind of lie with that. But I felt the problem here is it's fucking confusing. And it could be the translation in the subtitles. I'm not sure. But it didn't work. I was really confused. I have a whole bunch of question marks surrounding my notes here. It's, what the fuck? What are you talking about?
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think that the good zombie movies out there use zombie apocalypse as the metaphor for what's wrong. You could interpret it a few different ways, but like if we've all become zombies, we're all these things, consumers, right? In this vast capitalist society, you just gotta buy shit. This is the original Dawn of the Dead. We're all just consumers, and that's how society is, and that's what causes the apocalypse. It's not what causes the apocalypse. That's the apocalypse. And I think like they were trying to kind of come into that sort of, but they didn't really hit it here.
Exactly, and they didn't hit home on that. And they throw some hints there, and I don't think they follow through with the arm swing there, right? It's a flop.
Yeah, it's a flop.
They flubbed the pitch. It's like George W. at the mound, and they throw a shitty presidential throw, and it's wide off the mark.
Yeah, it like bounces twice before it gets the catcher's mitt. Nice try, big guy.
That's right. Okay, then how about the last point here to round out Act 2, even though it's a long Act 2, the scene between the father and the daughter. How she says she couldn't sing the song, and she kind of froze because she looked around and realized he wasn't there. She didn't sing it, and she's scared. He admits he's scared, and she doesn't want to lose him. Sweet scene, kind of thrown in there, forced. What did you feel? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's sweet and great. Like as you said, she did a good job. But this is just, this whole thing, this is just set for the final scene, right? It doesn't matter.
Well, there's a payoff. So for
there's a payoff at the end. I was like, all right, well.
I think there's reinforcement here because they don't talk about that if they throw this line at the beginning of the movie, but she's warming up to her dad throughout these events because it is the end of times. So that's the way I look at it, right? She, even as a kid, probably doesn't admit it. We don't know her thoughts, direct thoughts. I can just interpret that she's warming up to her dad at this point because he is there for her. He's proven through these events that he does care, at least a bit more to her. She's a kid. She needs those visible cues. So I like these scenes.
Okay.
So I think I enjoyed that more, but I also come at it in a different place as a father of daughters. So I think it's a bit more effective for me having that experience and imagining that, but especially as I'm away from my kids during periods of time due to work.
Yeah.
So let's move on to Act 3. So, we haven't talked about one other before we move on. Tough guy and his sacrifice. So that motherfucker was turning into a zombie and still holding him back. What did you think of that scene? Effective?
Actually, yeah, I dug it.
Yeah, I dug it.
Yeah, he was good because he was good through the whole thing, and it made sense for the character. He was selfless. You guys go save yourself, hold him back, and he was just a boss doing like punching zombies in the face, and he was like he didn't suplex a zombie. He was doing he picked that one up. He picked it up, held it perpendicular, and he used it as a shield. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah,
I love fantastic. That guy.
Love it. And I am so happy, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm trying to remember the movie, because I watched it several days ago. He didn't, because you know how they hadn't named the baby, right?
Yeah.
So something very stereotypical at that point we've seen in multiple movies. His last line of dialogue would be, name the baby this.
Yeah.
As he's about to die. No, but did he say that?
Yeah.
What was the name?
I don't know. I think that was a translation issue. Here's how I interpret it. It's name the baby suplex. Because that's the move I'm about to pull on this motherfucking zombie.
Suplex. Oh,
he didn't suplex the zombie, but I don't know what the name is for what he did. But...
Oh, man. No, because I was going to give the movie props for not falling down that stereotypical trap. The kind of very cliche that guy's going to die. Recent example is Star Trek.
Yeah.
J.J. Abrams reboot. Name him Jim. Oh, it's terrible. Oh, okay, we'll do it, right?
No, Tiberius.
Or Tiberius or whatever it was. But then they talk about it and it takes away from the moment, in my opinion. I hate that. That's the kind of relationship shit I hate. You can have a touching moment and say your goodbyes without... It just feels fake and forced. I didn't think that happened here, but now you're saying it did happen. So now I'm more disappointed. Did it happen? He said, name the baby something?
I need to watch it again. I feel like there was a translation issue at this moment in the movie. Because I don't know. He said something like, I know the name, or the name of the baby now, or something like that. They didn't actually say what it was.
Yeah, it could definitely be translation and a translation issue. It's unfortunate if they did that. Act 3. So the remaining survivors, the very few of them there, as they're getting towards Busan, they find that the conductor says something's blocking the train. There's another train in the next train yard that's derailed. So he puts out a announcement alerting any remaining survivors that he is going to go find another train and move on to the far left track. That's where he's headed. But I think he has to change his mind because there's zombies on one of them. So he changes trains and then gets onto a different track. So then the survivors go to what he originally instructed them to do. And then out of nowhere, just as he's starting the train, the conductor, out of the the yard, another train going in the opposite direction into the yard's all on fire. It's a fucking fireball, a bullet train. Probably because obviously zombies impacted that train and learned how to use matches or something like that. And,
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I don't know how it got on fire, but be that as it may, it's coming in, rams the train next to where the survivors are that they're trying to board, which should have been the wrong train anyways. And we get Seok Woo, homeless man, Soo Won, or the daughter, and the pregnant wife all trapped underneath one of the car, which is kind of tilted after the train collision, and they're trapped and they're just facing a whole window panel full of zombies trying to get at them. And there's only one little pinhole where they can squeeze through. So there's that whole escape sequence. In parallel, Mr. Lovely COO turns to complete villainy to save his own hide. He was originally survived that wave of attack. Him and a train attendant were in a bathroom. He pushes the guy out, so the zombies eat him. So he escapes the train after it's stopped. Then he pushes the cheerleader girl to save himself. She gets bit. She turns into a zombie and eats her boyfriend, Korean Barry Bonds. He dies. Then the same thing happens. He twists his ankle on one of the rails as he's running across the train yard to get to the train where the conductor is at. The conductor comes out to help him, and then he pushes him to escape the horde of zombies, and the conductor is eaten. And then he gets on. So we've got 3, 4... directly and indirectly related deaths in a matter of 30 seconds, thanks to Mr. COO. So what did you think of all these scenes? And then we also get Seok Woo, after they escape that tilted car, the homeless man sacrifices himself to save the 2 girls, like the daughter and the pregnant wife. They escape, they get on the train. Then you have the battle between Seok Woo and Mr. Zombified COO. Seok Woo gets bitten, and before he turns, he locks the pregnant wife and his daughter in the car, and then he turns into the zombie and falls off. And then the last scenes as they arrive in Busan, and the movie ends and wraps up. So what did you think of all these scenes?
I thought the set piece where they were like under the train, like the homeless guy and the pregnant woman and the daughter were trapped under the train. That was a cool set piece. That was pretty neat. I was surprised that the last remaining high school baseball heroes, I don't know, it's a zombie movie and people die. I thought they would make it. Like, I was kind of surprised that everybody died, basically. I thought there would be more survivors. So on the one hand, like, it was surprising to me, and I like to be surprised when watching a movie, but I thought there were more characters that deserved to make it. I guess, for lack of a better term, it played out. Like, I think it played out well. The CEO guy, yeah, he was full-on villain here. And that was okay. Thought, like, narratively, like, this worked fairly well. Like, the action in the train yard, perhaps the budget or the difficulty in filming what they wanted to film here, I was a little confused as to where everybody was.
Okay.
That being said, right up to the end, where the dad, he gets bit, I don't know.
Too cliche, or?
Oh, I'm just like, why did you put your hand in his mouth?
But he does, but if you recall, the reason why he puts his hand there is they have a bit of a scuffle, and then Zombie COO notices that the daughter is there on the other side. Moves towards her. At that point, father doesn't give a fuck. He just kind of does a headlock, and he puts his hand complete, without thinking, his whole hand and arms around the face to prevent him from moving and blocking that, I would assume. So he sacrifices that. He says, almost like, I'll make sure he doesn't bite her by making sure he bites me instead. Yeah. That's how I look at it. And I can say if I'm in the same boat, that's what I would do. Guaranteed, sure. At least he's biting me and not her. So.
Right, yeah. He can't bite anybody if my fist is in his face. And that's fine. I just pull his hair or something. But I get it. It's understandable. It's fine. I understand it. I just didn't like, I don't want to say that I didn't like it. I felt like he earned his survival. But when you watch zombie movies, and I'm not a big horror movie guy, so like zombie movies is kind of my in here. And I feel like in a zombie movie, people who deserve it get it. And oftentimes that's the hero of the movie. The hero has something that needs to be atoned for, so they get bit or they die. That's fine. And I don't feel like his fate accurately reflected his plight. Like, he didn't need to die. I felt like he could have lived here and that would have been fine. He didn't need to atone for some past indiscretion or past crime. I felt like he was clean, like he should have made it. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but I felt like he should have made it.
I can understand how you're feeling. I was rooting for him to survive. We want him to live, to take care of his daughter. It's just more tragic, I guess, in that sense. There's that, when they get there, she sings that song and that's kind of heartbreaking. It's effective that way.
Yeah.
How about that scene then? As they arrive in Busan, did you like that ending? There's the extra scenes, extra minutes here about the daughter, and it's not just they get away and it's like the end, and or they're lingering on that moment. You have that payoff with the recital song. Make sure they make it out okay. What did you think of those scenes?
Yeah, again, I'm going to say yes and no. You get to this point in the movie, and you can't just fade to black when they walk down the tunnel. And you got the army guys on the other end. You can't just shoot them, right? It felt right in the sense that you needed a way to end a movie on an emotional note. That's not just we vanquished our enemies and now everything's great. Because we already did that. We already made it through. And now we need like the reason. Like, why does this matter? What's the emotional through line? And the emotional through line was, here's what I took away. So she can stand alone. She knows that she doesn't need him to be there physically. She doesn't need to see him in order to, whatever it is, to be herself or to go accomplish a thing. But it's more like he's there with her in spirit. And she knows she doesn't need to see him, but she knows that he's there. And now she knows he's dead, like he's gone, but she knows that he's there with her. So she's able to sing the song. And that's what saves her. So I'm mixed on it. I'm of two minds of it. So on the one hand, it's not a physical resolution of the story. She doesn't need to shoot a zombie or punch a zombie or run away from a zombie in order to resolve the story. She needs to get to a point emotionally as a character where she can kind of absorb it, like he's with me even when he's not here point. The evolution of the character from an emotional perspective. So I appreciate that. I think that's a good arc for her, for the daughter. So that worked for me. That, even as unsatisfied as I was with him dying, I guess that makes it her arc, you know? But the movie wasn't really her arc. It was more of her dad's arc. So it's a bit of a shift there. I wasn't focusing too much on her for the whole movie. I was more focusing on him. So I guess it's a bit of it's like the gears changed on me there. I'm like, okay, it's her story, not his. All right. It was a good resolution for her.
I'll first touch base on the action scenes to wrap everything up. So I agree with you 100% about the escape from the tilted, derailed train there, where they have the pain of zombies and the homeless man sacrifices himself. That was a fantastic sequence. It was edge of your seat, well filmed, high stakes, high tension. I loved every aspect of that. And I laughed at how he was just tossing and pushing people away to save his own bacon. And I felt for the conductor. You know, I kind of feel odd about the baseball guy dying so quickly with the cheerleader. So he stays behind because that's his girlfriend. And then she turns and bites him and he's crying in pain and in tragedy and in sadness that she's dead too. It's kind of like an off-screen thing. You just see kind of like a faraway shot of him getting bitten. If I liked that moment there, but the lead up to it was kind of odd how they quickly resolve it so fast. I agree. I felt that there would be more survivors, so I kind of had that same instinct as you. We didn't mention that. Like, as they are running to try and capture this train, so this is the pregnant wife, the daughter, Seok-woo, trains are moving, and they escaped that tilted train sequence. And you've got literally like thousands of zombies now running behind them. So I love that aerial shot. First, as you see only a few zombies, then you see hundreds of zombies, and thousands of zombies. I love that shot. I just found it a little bit unbelievable that not only did they catch the train, but especially the pregnant wife made it. I can understand if the guy made it with his daughter, he's carrying his daughter that probably weighs like 40 pounds. He could probably move. She, on the other hand, probably can't. So I found that a bit unbelievable. So a bit of loss of believability in that moment for me, especially since these zombies can move fast. But I like the shot. I laughed when I first watched this movie. I laughed out loud when it's revealed that the COO's in the train. He's partly zombified. I actually burst out laughing. First time I watched this, which was a year ago. You need some kind of resolution for him to have some comeuppance, or we want to see him pay the price. But again, like, he's turning slow. Like, how long was he bitten? He was bitten during that sequence sometime.
That's right.
Before he got on the train. Yeah. Then you have minutes of them running to get on the train. Then another minute before they open the conductor door. And then he walks out and he's only half turned. And there's no other zombie in that conductor room or the engine room or whatever it's called. So again, they're having him turn very slowly for drama. And I didn't like that. I don't think I needed to hear, because he's still talking while he's turning, saying, oh, I need to get to Busan because my mom's there. And then Seok-woo says, oh, well, you're turning. You're becoming one of them. And then he doesn't believe it. Looks at his hands. Oh, what's going on? I don't believe it. Then he looks up and he's a zombie. So I didn't need to know those details. I didn't care because at that point he's completely unsympathetic anyways. So I would have just rather have him come out of the cab room being full zombified and have that be a legitimate scare. I think that would have been more effective. So I didn't like that aspect. And then their fight, I didn't like. I like that Siak-woo protect his daughter by sacrificing himself by putting his hand in his mouth so he would bite him instead of her. But I just felt it was staged poorly, the whole fight and the sequence. So I kind of wanted more there. I didn't like that. But be that as it may, I don't think that was the point of the sequence, really. They could have even dealt with the COO in a different fashion and have Siak-woo get bitten, get the pregnant wife and the daughter onto the train. He still boards, but he's revealed to be bitten in that sequence, that escape sequence. So, but I like the emotional goodbye. And again, I think what really sells this whole thing is the daughter, Suan. She's amazing. Sells it completely. I'm transfixed in this movie. My hook is through her. And it's not because I have kids. She just is that good, and she sells it. She's emotional when she needs to be. She hits all the right emotional beats when they need to be there. And so she's that good. And one of the best child acting performances I've seen in quite a long period of time, if ever. I can't think of another one that really gets to me in that level in terms of selling me as a performance. So hats off to her. I mean, that to me, she deserves, I wouldn't say Oscar, but I wouldn't complain if she ever got one. So
maybe.
It's that good of a performance, and it completely sells it. Where I do disagree with you is, I know you kind of buy their relationship and the message and her singing at the end. I mean, that hit me with the feels. I wanted him to live too, but because he sacrifices himself and dies, they kind of talked about it, how he was selfish. That was the downfall of the marriage. That's why the wife left. She says that to him. I know we've challenged that in what we've seen, but the character before the events of this movie seems to be a guy who was only focused on his career, not family. At least that's what we're led to believe. So there's a payoff here in his sacrifice. And her singing that song, I agree with you that even though he's passed, he was her dad and he has been there all the time. Because there's that line at the beginning of the movie where he talks about the performance and says, "Why didn't you sing?" And she goes, "You weren't there." And he goes, "Oh, you should know, I'm always with you," right? But she knows now that's true. He will always be there for her because he was there for her. That worked for me, 100%. I had a bit of the feels there, and I thought it was a very effective ending. And I like that lingering on the army as well. They're not sure if these are zombies. They're walking very slow. They're not making a sound. And I love that payoff that she finally sings it even though he's not there, and that saves her life. Fantastic ending. I love that. Because you would think the movie would be done with the minute Siak-woo dies. And then they go off and they survive, but there's more to it there. And I like that development of the movie is to round out the movie there. And fantastic ending. I loved it. That's Train to Busan, Jeff. So
yeah.
Well, tell me, what are your final thoughts of this movie? Do you recommend it? Is it a rare antiquity?
It's a good movie. The setting is great. The setting is good. Like, they're on the train, but it's not just the train. They managed to create a lot of tension by getting off the train, on the train, off the train. It's a good movie. I don't know what to say other than that. It's well acted. The kid is great. What a performance by a very young actor. She was fantastic. And yes, genuinely entertaining, suspenseful zombie romp. So yeah, man, fucking go see this movie. Guys, go see this movie. It's good. It's on Netflix, for fuck's sake. If you don't have Netflix and you're listening to this podcast, you're just a fucking maniac. So you have Netflix, watch this movie for free. It's good. Is it a rare antiquity? I don't know. Like, it's a zombie movie, and how many of those have we seen? A lot. The setting is, how many train movies did I name? It's somewhat unique. I don't know if I could say it's a rare antiquity. To be perfectly honest with you, I don't know that I can. This is weird for me because I really like this movie. This movie is a good movie. I dug it. Go watch it. I recommend it. Is it a rare antiquity? I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know that it's going to be a rare antiquity, though. But go watch it because it's good. That's what I got to say.
And Jeff, I 100% agree. Strong movie. Hits all the right beats. Payoffs are good. Great setting. Good zombie flick. It's fun. It does have a couple of issues. One issue is I felt that the score needed to be a lot better. That's just more of a technical issue with the film. I was not a fan of the score in terms of building tension where it needed to be built. So I just wanted to kind of say that as a blanket statement. That doesn't detract the movie in a negative way for me. I still really enjoyed this movie. I do love this movie. I think it's fantastic. I agree with you. The acting is superb. Everyone does a great job. There's no flaw here. And so it's a high recommend. But be that as it may, it's not a rare antiquity. At least I don't think I can classify it as a rare antiquity. We have some kind of a gray area when we talk about rare antiquities. We don't really define what that is, but it has to be something, I think you would agree with me, it has to be something truly unique or special for us to kind of give it that rare antiquity stamp, that you must drop what you're doing after hearing this, stop life in its tracks, go watch the fucking flick. I wouldn't say that, even in the zombie genre. I think there are other zombie movies out there that are rare antiquities. Even though that this is a high recommended film, I don't think it's a rare antiquity. There's just something missing from the movie that gives it that kind of rare stamp of approval that I would give.
Yeah, it's still a zombie movie. It's a really good one. And this is a bit of an aside, not to interrupt you, but, well, I did, so it's fine. But the rare antiquities, like, we invented the rare antiquity status, but there's a je ne sais quoi, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of part of what defines the rare antiquity. There's an it to it that we assign to that. That's kind of what we're doing here. And it's great as a movie can be. If it doesn't have that it
factor, yeah,
then it doesn't, that's what it is. It doesn't have that it factor as good as it is. And it is good and you should watch it, but it doesn't have that thing. Whatever the fuck that is.
It just doesn't have that.
No, it doesn't. Whatever that is, it's not there.
Exactly. Yeah. That magic, that kind of secret recipe, that's the Coke recipe or the KFC recipe or whatever you want to describe it. The secret sauce. It's not there. It's a fucking good sandwich. It's a fucking good drink. It's just missing that one little thing that edges it to perfection. I agree with you, 100%. Yeah. So, great movie. Watch it. Highly recommend. Great zombie flick. Be that as it may. It's so odd.
I don't know that there is a rare... What's the zombie movie that has a rare... Well, if it did, we'd have it on the show. But yeah, it's just... doesn't have that... Yeah. Shit. As saturated as the market is, I'd love me a good zombie movie. I really do. I really like zombie movies.
I've only seen it the one time, many years ago, but that one Italian zombie movie, I'd like to hit you with that one. I only have some visual memories of it. I don't remember the whole movie, but maybe we'll have to do that on another Halloween date in the future.
Yeah, well, we'll have to do that for sure.
Revisit that. We'll see if that is a rare antiquity or not. But be that as it may, Jeff, I think that does it for today's show. This is Train to Busan, all wrapped up in a nice little package. Please inform us, even though we have something planned, inform those would-be listeners what we have planned next time.
Yeah, as we do occasionally, a contemporary pick. We're going to talk about the magnum opus, Terminator Dark Fate.
Opus.
Which just came out. Just came out last week. And, I mean, hey, it's got Arnold Schwarzenegger in it. So, have we done an Arnie movie yet?
I don't believe so.
Yeah, I don't think we have. So,
this will be the first one.
Arnold's first appearance on this show, Terminator Dark Fate. It'll be a scene, man.
Oh, yeah. No, I can't wait for that one.
Yeah.
Lots to say about this one here, so.
Yeah. Oh, I got so much to say about this movie. So much to say about this movie.
Yeah, I mean, since we're talking about it, maybe we can even take a short little bit at the beginning, talk about the franchise installments that have come before.
We'll have to talk about the franchise for a good bit, I think, on that episode.
Well, then I'm really looking forward to this, and I can't wait for your take on the movie. I've been anticipating your analysis since I got out of the theater. I wanted to give you a call right away to talk about it, but all good things we must wait for, so.
That's true. All good things come to those who wait.
Well, thanks, buddy. I think today is done, and hopefully it will not take too long for us to meet again.
Yeah, man. As always, I am looking forward to next time.
All right. You have a good night.
Yeah, man. Talk to you then.